I wasn't going to drink today.
Hey guys, welcome to The Film With No Name, the show that talks about independent movies that you may not have seen or even heard of, but you can stream right now. Today we're diving back into the horror genre with this anthology film, Volumes of Blood Horror Stories, released by Blood Moon Pictures and currently streaming on Amazon Prime. So what are we waiting for? Let's get bloody.
We spent all day looking at the rest of the house. One more room won't kill us.
Alright, so that was a look at Volumes of Blood Horror Stories, a critically acclaimed anthology about a couple looking for a new home, taking a tour of the home, and with each room they go into, they witness these scary stories of what happened in the house prior.
Ish. Alright, so this is an anthology film. So it's directed by many directors and many writers. We'll start with the directors, who I believe wrote most of these segments themselves as well. So
Edited them.
So we got Sean Blevins, John William Holt, John Maynard, Nathan Thomas Milliner, Justin M. Seaman, James Treacle. And as far as the cast goes, there are so many, I can't name them, so we will start with that.
Oh, man.
A lot of people.
That's so many people. Now, all of these directors have, they've all got a series of shorts and stuff that they've done. Justin M. Seaman is the only one that I know of that has done a feature before this. We actually saw it at the New Orleans Horror Film Festival. Totally recommend you go to that. It's insane.
Yeah.
The Barn was a lot of fun. I liked it.
The Barn was a lot of fun. That's the film that Justin Seaman
Yes, the film Justin Seaman directed. It was an 80s throwback. Mm-hmm. It had all the 80s montages and the killers and all that stuff, and I thought it was well done. This is different.
And in a sense, they're trying to do the same thing. And this is something I'll say that I liked about the film, is that there is an honest appreciation of the classic horror films that came in the late 70s and the 80s, especially the slasher genre. There's a lot of call-outs, Easter eggs, if you will, to some great horror films. Movies. One that I noticed right off the bat was, if you look in the background, this is there's a Jason Voorhees hockey mask, just kind of hidden behind a cage, and it kind of tells you exactly what's going to happen to these people.
Yeah, that kind of killer.
That kind of killer. And when it came to that, I think they shot it. I think what they were doing is they were shooting it to pay kind of an homage to, like, especially the original one, because let's face it, the original one was crude AF, right? I mean, it was so crude. But there was a definite, like, heart and soul and charm to it that led to an incredible franchise.
And a lore.
That's the thing about that film.
Sam and I had trouble with this film. Unfortunately, because we were both really excited to see this.
Anything called Volumes of Blood, I'm in.
And the trailer had a lot of blood in it.
Mm-hmm. One of the big problems for me in this film is that they couldn't get past the calling out to those films. They had such an affinity for...
Fucking planes, man. I'm gonna go through this beer the whole...
We have more. and once they were kind of done with these call-outs, they just didn't know, or maybe didn't have the budget.
Yeah.
This
film literally has a very low budget, which when you're watching one of these kinds of movies, you cannot hold that against the filmmakers.
No, and you got to applaud them for going out and making it.
You really have to applaud them because it takes a lot of hard work to put together even a short film, let alone 7 short films, and to put them together. And there was this kind of cohesive thing with them. I liked how, sometimes you're watching it turns out you're watching a movie that these characters are watching.
Yeah, and actually, something we forgot to mention was the cinematography. Alexander Clark, John William Holt, Austin Madding. There's 3 cinematographers here, and when I was actually surprised to learn that there was 3 of them because there was a very cohesive look to it.
The look, all of them looked like they were shot by the same.
Yeah, whether
people.
I liked that necessarily, that's a different story. I felt like, yes, you have obviously no budget, but please, there's a tripod doesn't cost that much. Just put it down for a second.
There's a time and a place for Steadicam. To me, it felt like this movie was run and gun.
Very run and gun, but not so run and gun when you're doing like an establishing shot of a pumpkin. You can't just put the camera down and just look at the pumpkin for a little bit. There was this shake.
If you see this
happening
on the big screen, you might throw up. Yeah.
And there is a time and place for shaky camera movement.
Oh, definitely.
But not when you're looking at a pumpkin.
Although that story, I enjoyed that segment with the pumpkin trick or treat.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
That was really cool.
And what that came down to was the writing.
There were a couple moments through the script. There were some one-liners in there that made us both laugh out loud.
Hey, they were brilliant. There were like, that was so weird because saying all this negative stuff about the writing and negative stuff about the acting every once in a while, like Babe Ruth, who swung out 100 times, would knock it out of the park.
I think it's also because the actors were saying most of the time their dialogue was very hard to say, and there wasn't much story going on. And if you've got a movie with very little budget, you're not getting professional actors most of the time. You're probably not going to be able to afford the best camera equipment. You can't fault the filmmakers for those aspects, but what you can do is say, why didn't you guys focus on the script as much as possible? If you have an amazing script and an awesome story or bunch of stories, as audience members, you tend to forget about the faults that the movie has because you're like, wow, that was such a great story. Yeah. And it felt like they had a lot of fake blood and they wanted to get to that fake blood. They wanted to use it. And they know that movies have dialogue in them. I feel like a total dick for saying it like that, but it's really the only way I can say it, and I apologize to the filmmakers if you guys are seeing this and you guys are offended. We swore that when we started this show we were going to be honest about the movies we were watching, and this one, I love horror movies so much it just didn't do it for me.
I would like to get to something really quickly though, because we're showing our maybe, okay, we didn't like the film. All right. But who the hell are we?
Yeah.
Because I want to say, it is mentioned that this is a critically acclaimed anthology, right? And so I looked it up, and it's true.
Who are we? We're just 2 schmucks who have an internet show. Yeah. The point is, you watch the movie. Tell us what you think down in the comments below. If you like the movie and disagree with anything that we're saying, let us know.
And if we are lucky enough to get one of the filmmakers to see this show, then be free to, tell us off.
Tear us apart,
man.
Yeah. I feel really bad giving a bad review. I've never had to give a bad review before, and it's just really hard. And because we know what goes into making a movie, and it's one of the hardest, most mind-melting, stressful things to do.
But you know what it also is? It's a lot of fun, and that is evident.
That is evident
in this movie.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun with it.
Movie. From the writing process all the way to the end. There is
the end
fun
where there's just
movie.
people being stabbed by this killer for no reason.
If we're spoiling it, let's just go to it. Once the movie is over, it's not over yet.
No, there's
not by a long shot. Why end the film
4 hours later, 1 week later, 10 years later, 20 years later?
Why end the film when there's still so many people out there you can kill? There's a lawnmower bit which I quite liked.
That was it looked like a little callback to Dead Alive.
Dead Alive. Bad taste, depending on where you're from. At the same time, I'm like, I've already invested so much time in this movie, and if you're not giving me any more story, then just stop it.
So, Sam, tell the folks at home, or on the train, or on the bus, or wherever you guys are watching this from, what your rating for this movie is. Out of 10, what'd you think?
Out of 10, it's not going to be good, Lee. Honestly, it's going to be probably like a 2.5, and that 2.5 is literally because I saw heart and love and fun in this movie. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot more than that. I love the call-outs. I was right there with you. You even said some of the names of some of my favorite movies. It just seemed like they were like, we need to fill this up because we don't have anything to put in it. So we just need to fill it up with cheeky dialogue that doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah. Unless it's literally explaining what the writer wants to be explained. Yeah. So that the kill will make sense.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on this. I'm going to give it a 3, though. 3 out of 10. The only reason is because, I loved the heart and all that stuff. It had tons of problems. And I know the filmmakers weren't going for this, but watching it, some of it reminded me of the movies that we used to make as kids. And the nostalgia factor in that made me go, like, my heart warm up to this movie just a little bit more. Tell us what you think. We might be wrong. We might be right. I don't know. But, this is the first episode that we're drinking, so that's got to say something.
Thank you for watching another episode of The Film with No Name. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can check out Volumes of Blood Horror Stories on Amazon Prime. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All the links will be down below. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for keeping independent cinema alive. We'll see you next week. Hit that notification button.